I'm very, very happy also to have Nicolas Wardi today because he's Senior Sustainability Specialist at FIBS. FIBS is the Finnish business and society platform. It's the biggest CR, corporate responsibility network within the entire Nordic region. So he has 25 years, or the FIBS has 25 years of engagement within sustainability in general and for biodiversity. So thank you, Nicolas. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I hope you can see my slides now.
Yes.
Great. So hello everybody, my name is Nicolas Wardi and I work at Finnish Business and Society, and I'm going to tell a little bit about our nature work. But just briefly about FIBS, even though Finland is quite small country and small economy, FIBS is a large operator, and as stated just before, we're the largest CSR network in the Nordic countries, and at the moment we have almost 500 members. 3 out of 4 are companies and 1 out of 4 other organizations such as NGOs, universities of applied sciences, foundations, and so on. And we have traditionally been more focused on large companies, and for example, 70 out of 100 of the largest companies in Finland are our members, and 9 out of the 10 largest. But now during the last couple of years, there's been more and more small and medium-sized also joining in. So our purpose is to accelerate responsibility change makers towards more sustainable world. And how we do that is we offer companies and we help them to stay up to date, deepen their know-how, get peer support, and expand their networks. And our core operations to help companies is to hold events. So annually we have around 70 events on sustainability. And we are mostly having webinars, seminars, trainings, and peer-to-peer groups. But we also have overnight deep dives and also having different kind of surveys on sustainability or environmental or social topics as well. So, but we are not only nature organization. I'm going to talk more about our nature work pretty soon, but just wanted to give you the whole point of view to our work. We have 8 promises that we help our members through our events. And the first 2 are our environmental promises. So we help companies to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions and promote the restoration of biodiversity. Then we have 2 social goals. So we help companies to respect the guiding principles on business and human rights and support inclusion, equality, and diversity. Then we have 3 more kind of traditional ESG goals. So we help them to publish relevant financial information. And that has been, of course, lately most focusing on CSRD and CSDD and that kind of regulation. Then we help them to consider ESG risks and also gain insight into the effects of evolving regulation on sustainability business. For example, like Deforestation Act. And the last one is more comprehensive. So we help companies to develop sustainable business models and promote systematic change as well. And how we do this? So we have built this FIBS partner program, and the partners help us pro bono to produce services to our members. At the moment, we have one strategic partner, that is KPMG, and KPMG produces events aimed at the top management. But in addition to KPMG, we have many other partners as well that help us to create services pro bono to our members. And in the nature work, we have, for example, the Sweco, originally a Sweden-based consulting company. And in nature work, we have AFRI, And for example, in climate work, we have South Pole and Anthesis. So quite wide variety of different partners help us to create the services. Then we also utilize the latest tools, networks, and experts of international organizations and partners. So we are member of World Business Council for Sustainable Development Global Network. And what that means us is that we gain insights to what happened in global level on sustainability in large multinational companies. So that really helps us to understand and create scenarios on what's happening in the next 2 to 5 years in Finland. Then, of course, we are a member of, for example, these 3 organizations or initiatives on nature and biodiversity. Then very briefly, what kind of services we're having on nature and water that we provide to our members. And on the horizontal axis, you can see kind of the maturity level on what these events are focusing on. On nature, this year, we are having 2 webinars and 2 trainings. And as you can see, the topics differ quite a lot from each others. Then we are having, for example, 4 meetings with our nature network, and these topics are created by themselves, so they give introductions, the companies involved in the network are giving introductory presentations in the network meeting. Then on water and water stewardship, we are having 2 webinars and 2 trainings as well this year. So I just wanted to give you a brief overview on what kind of services we are giving to our members. But then just wanted to point out that events related to climate and net zero, sustainable and regenerative business models and systemic change are not included in this slide. So as I stated, we are having around 70 events per year, and this is just a small portion of this. Then when it comes to nature, I think it's very important to point out that in 2026, we are launching a new Center for Sustainable Transformations and Regenerative Business. And this is a key part of our new strategy. And the Competence Center will provide concrete support for companies' sustainability transitions and introduce them to regenerative thinking with concrete tools to guide them forward. And as we know, this center is first of kind in Finland and in Nordics as well. Then I promised to briefly walk you through our findings, Sustainability in Finland 2025 survey on results on nature. So we're having this survey every 2 years, and first time we had this 2013. So this has been around over 10 years. And the target group are the 1,000 largest companies in Finland, and this year we had almost 200 answers. And the persons who answered were CEOs, directors of sustainability, or sustainability managers. And one of the key findings of this survey was that the companies assessed that their level of ambition of their own sustainability goals are fairly sufficient. And in addition, the majority of companies assess that their business will provide better living condition for future generations. However, we saw that the environmental goals are not at the level required by international agreement. So there is a contradiction in that. But if we dig in a little bit deeper, we noticed that the companies were having trust in their own operations, and almost 65% told us that their companies consider that their sustainability goals are fully or fairly sufficient in relation to the sustainability transformation needed globally. And almost 80% of companies trust that their business will provide a better condition for future generations, ecosystems, and societies to thrive. And actually, a large proportion of companies say that they have set sustainability goals and targets to, for example, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and almost 80% have report that they have set a measurable reduction in their greenhouse gas emissions, and that 86% have quantitative targets and 82 qualitative targets. But here comes the interesting part. So on the left-hand side, you can see the climate part, and right-hand side, the nature part, so that 45% say that they have set the net zero target for their greenhouse gas emissions, but only 30% report that they have established a science-informed plan, and only 20% say that their plan is in line with Finland's national carbon target. And in nature, the numbers are even lower. So only 30% say that they have set nature targets, and only 12% say that the targets are science-informed. Of course, we know that, for example, science-based targets for nature framework is not that well established yet, as it is in the climate work, but still, I think that number is quite low. But 2%, the number of companies who say that they are aiming for nature positive business operations by 2050 is 2% higher, so it's 14%. But in conclusion, we can see that even though the companies think they can provide better conditions for future generations, their actions are not in line with, for example, Paris Agreement and coming Montreal Biodiversity Framework. Then you're going to get my slides afterwards, and then you can check out the 5 findings of this survey in total. So now I walked you through the second one, but the first one was that sustainability serves as a strong driver for companies to plan for the future. And the third one was that the perceived cost-benefit ratio of sustainability work is weaker than it has been before. And we assume the CSRD is affecting to that. Then the sustainability has now firmly established itself in the operations of business management. And lastly, the management of large Finnish companies remains strongly committed to promoting diversity and equity action, even though we have seen some backlash, for example, in the United States. But this survey summary is available in English in our website to all actors who wants to see it. So go to fibsri.fi. But in the end, I wanted to state some things why we here at FIBS think that companies should integrate biodiversity in the business. So I've been talking a lot with our member companies and their representatives, and they have stated these 5 things to me. Nature work really helps with risk mitigation and resilience work. So for example, comprehensive nature action reduces very direct effects to company like floods, droughts, and ecosystem degradation. But it also helps with long-term business continuity and supply chain resilience. Then it helps companies to align with regulatory environment and new incentives, and this has come more and more clear, for example, with the CSRD. The companies who started with CSRD some years ago were in much better position to start reporting compared to those who started later with the work. Then one point that I think it's very important is that comprehensive nature work and biodiversity work really creates stakeholder trust and brand value. And I think we talk a lot about what customers think about the brands, but as I see it, it might be even more important to what that the nature work builds trust among employees, communities, investors, and regulators. Then it really holds innovation potential and new revenue stream. For example, if company aligns their work with ecological restoration and circular economy principles. And then lastly, it creates possibilities for cost efficiency. For example, nature-based solution can offer cost-effective alternatives to traditional infrastructure. But that was my last slide, so thank you very much for this.
Thank you so much. Is there any direct question? Yes, we do have one question. Please in the microphone, otherwise Nicholas cannot hear you. You have one question, one direct question.
Yeah, thank you for the great talk. My name is Piers Duchte from the One Planet business team from WWF. And I have one question on what is your strategy to cover the distance between the targets set by the different companies and the Montreal and Paris agreements?
So what is our plan to cover the distance of the targets and the real action? If I understood the question correctly. So what we are aiming to do that we are trying to identify the gaps, especially the knowledge gaps that companies have, and try to help them to create new know-how that can help them to work on that. For example, in Finland, for example, I would say that the companies really need examples from real business on what is the relation of biodiversity and business strategy and business work, and what is the business case for biodiversity. That really helps companies to work on nature in line with these global agreements.
Thank you, Niklas. I think it's very important to stress that we as Biodiversity in Company, we basically work a bit smaller, but exactly the same approach as FIBS. So we, in our network, which is based of companies from all sizes, on all branches and intersectorial, we really hear from the member member companies. They want to understand tangibly. They want to have concrete examples. They want to see from the praxis, why is it working? Why is it not working? So basically, within our network, we can exactly give it just resonates to me because that's what companies want to understand, how to make it practical.